Here we are again then, up in the attic. It seems like ages since I've been up here. It really does seem like ages. It's been a week, which I suppose is a long time since I was up here every other day. For 8 weeks, was it? Something like that. But I've been fishing. I've caught carp. It's amazing. And I've taken loads of video, so I'm going to show it to you. In fact, we're just going to go straight in and start with the first frame at the lake, just had the draw. Can't wait to get out there. So here we are, Kingsmead Island Lake. We just had the draw. I don't know where I came out, not very high, but I've got a swim I'm happy with. Out on that island, on the back half of it, all loaded up. Everyone else is still about. We're good to go. We're going fishing. Need my dog, that's what I need. Right, let's go and get her. We're off, aren't we? On the water. What do you reckon? Can we catch carp? Of course we are. At last, we're going fishing. Starting to think it'd never happen. I'm ever so excited. Like, stupidly excited. Back on a nice big pit, back on the boat. Oh, happy days. First rod is in. That's my swim. Got a load of snags over the back there. And it sweeps around there, and I've got this channel between that island and that bank. And all of this really. Looks pretty good. That's the plot. And Lane has settled him. Nice and comfy. The end of an island, eh? Spot on, doesn't it? 2 rods to go. Feels weird. Feels like you're poaching or something. Don't know. Very strange feeling. So sure I'll get used to it. What do you reckon on your new pond then, Madalena? Look at that. 3-rod angling. Haven't seen any fish, but we're fishing. And that is the most important thing. That's what I've missed. That vista. That beautiful scene out there. Water, rods, boat. It's so nice to be back. You know, even nicer when one of them rattles off. So, here we go. Ow! Hot. The first one of the year, eh? The first barbecue on the new pit 2020. It's just like the old opening day of the season, this is absolutely brilliant. What do you reckon, Madalena? You would love to run off with that, wouldn't you? That's got to be the one. Bit of blood in the margins. Nice. Here I go. Daddy's got steak. You haven't. And there's a carp, and we're sorted. Yum yum. First one on the bank looks absolutely prime. Oh, just, it couldn't actually get any better. It's just spot on. That's proper dinner, that, isn't it? There we are. My first island lake sunset. Looking nice out there. Oh, I'm tired already. Been a long old day, didn't exactly sleep last night because I was so excited to go fishing. Looks a bit like a big horse running across the sky there, doesn't it? It does to me anyway. Told you I was tired. I'm a bit wonky there. Ooh. Hopefully, get woken up in the night by a great big fat mirror carp. Or common carp. Don't even have to be a great big fat one, to be honest, anything will do. Well, my first morning, nothing's happened. Seen a couple of fish, small ones at range, but I just had a look in the other half. It's sort of like the island I'm on and that next island up there separates the lake, and there's a much bigger half the other side, and they're showing like mad out there. So I think already we're on the move. There's people around and about over there, so I don't want to be boating about at bite time and ruining it for them, so I'm going to have a slow pack up and be ready to relocate a little bit later. I hope they're still out there tonight, but it's definitely very quiet on this side of the pond. But hey ho, ain't day one. So the plan to wait until sort of later in the day to move on to that second island where Mozzle was, where the fish were showing. I think I lasted about another half an hour after speaking to him. In fact, while I was on the phone to him, I was chucking stuff in bags and zipping it up. I found a route round where there was sort of didn't disturb anybody. Got round there and there was fish still showing when I turned up. I see 3 or 4 in the swim I decided to go in. There was 3 swims facing out into the big bit of the lake. From this second island, Mozzle was in the far one and the other 2 were empty. So I went in the first one, so to give us room, you know. Yeah, see 3 or 4 fish show straight away out there. Went out in the boat, it was deep water, but it's quite clear. In fact, it's very clear compared to what I've been used to the last few years. You know, with a glass bottom bucket, you can see right down to the bottom. I didn't want to be out there too much disturbance, so I just went out as soon as I found a spot, lowered my rig down, a little bit of particle round it, a few chop boilies, fishing real simple rigs, because when you can see your bait on the bottom, you know, you don't need pop-ups and Ronnies and 360s and what have you. You can see that your bait's presented, so just my normal little wafter rig. Got all 3 settled out there. I was proper confident. So this is the new swim. Moved up here yesterday, sort of mid-morning. I was on the second island now. Was on the first island, but it was showing like crazy out here in the middle yesterday morning. Right out in the middle. So got in here, I've got 3 baits out there where they were. Moz was a couple of swims up. He came down yesterday, sort of afternoon, evening, sat here, had a barbie and that, which was nice. Didn't get any filming done, forgot all about that, sorry. I was expecting to see a big display out there this morning, but I've seen 1 carp so far, 2 carp, but then they were right over. So I'm hoping they haven't done the off to somewhere else. Chasing them about already. There's been 4 carp caught so far. Moz had 1 and the guy on the back of the island, so 2 up that end and 2 right up the other end. As far as I know anyway, that was up till yesterday evening. But they were definitely out there in numbers yesterday. I thought I'd have seen a few more by now. About 5:30, been up since 4. Just before 4. But it is nice up here. Loving the lake. Everyone I met's been nice. Nice and friendly. The way it should be. Sat there sort of throughout the morning, expecting a bite at any minute, to be honest, although it was getting, the sun had come out and, you know, I knew I'd missed the prime time. Later on that afternoon, Moz come up for a chat, social distancing chat, obviously. He's at the sort of entrance to the swim. There's a little path went through the woods that links these 3 swims, and each one sort of runs off of it. Mine was quite a big open one. I just set everything out for sort of night under the stars style, as in just threw it all on the bank. I was sat on a low chair, Moz was just there, we were just chatting, you know, not bite time at all. Suddenly I've had an absolute screamer on the right hand rod, tip's pulled up, you know, as it's going, it's almost taking the rod out of the rests. So I've hit into the fish and I've got this horrible big feature in front of me. They call it a plateau, but it's actually like a big what I think it is an old gravel barge that's got a concrete block either in it or under it, or at one end you can see the shape of the gravel barge on the bottom, and at the other side you can see this huge piece of slab of concrete that comes out, all undercut, looks very sharp, and I'm fishing over that, quite a way past it. So as soon as I hooked the fish, I just jumped straight in the boat and sort of made my way out over the feature. I didn't want to tighten down in case the line was caught on any of these sort of flints and stuff, gravel. So I made my way out there thinking, this is the one, you know, I'm on them. I've had a bite at a strange time of day. I'm going to bag up here. Yeah, all a bit disappointing really. I hadn't really felt anything, just a solid, it was just solid. And when I got over the top of it and pulled, up come this huge lump of weed. My lead was still on. It was all, I don't know, couldn't really figure out what had gone on, but there was no carp there anyway. I was a bit confused, really, to be honest, after all of that. I didn't really know, you know, it was such a savage take that I just thought, it's definitely a carp. But then, when you see that the lead's still on the rig, that's the giveaway. You know, if your lead's still on, then there's a good chance it isn't. But the take, like I say, was just so from 0 to 100. The rig was all tangled as well. I really couldn't get my head around it. So I sat there in the evening, had a barbecue. Obviously I got the rod back out there. Yeah, just sort of laid out under the stars, hoping really that the fish would return and put on a display like they had the previous morning. But you never know on them big pits, a little bit of pressure. I might have been the final straw, if you like. But I was still pretty confident, to be honest, when I went to sleep. Well, a fruitless night. Had that odd occurrence yesterday afternoon. Absolutely ripped off right hand rod, melted off. I've got a big sort of sunken barge and a big slab of rock halfway. My lines are over it. Hence I had to jump straight in the boat and get out there, but when I got out there was nothing, just a rig in the weed. Lead still on, very odd, not sure what happened at all there. Apart from that, nothing, and I've seen absolutely zero this morning. So I've got to make a decision. If I'm staying tonight, I've got to move. It's a different sort of day today, it's all cloudy. Not that warm, better for a bite. I just don't feel like I'm on them. I've been up since 5 to 4, I haven't seen anything jumping anywhere. I'm starting to have a bit of a slow pack up because it's a bit of a bomb site around here. Get it all ready, get it in there. And then I'll be in a better position to go anywhere at any time if I see anything show. There's another nice bit out the back here. Oh. Keeping an eye on this as well, but I've not seen anything out here either. Cold over this side. The aquarium, apparently they call this bit. Not been much of an aquarium this morning. You need fish in an aquarium. So I don't know. In a dilemma, not me meds. What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? We're going to go to a new swim, or we're going to go home. Don't know if I can bring myself to go home having not caught one yet. It'd be just wrong, wouldn't it? Or we're going to go right up there somewhere. Right then, the final move. I know this is probably going to be very bitty, this video, but I've been busy fishing, or trying anyway. But the update so far is I'm in my 3rd swim. I've had 1 eel this morning, and the screaming bite I had last night, that I've got video of me out there playing what I thought was a carp, and there was nothing on the end. All makes sense now. The rig was tangled, it was in the weed, nothing on the end, and then I caught an eel, so that was probably also an eel, almost definitely an eel. So I've moved to the other end of the lake, and all that reed line and everything out there, that's the snags. and well, that's the snags where Mozza is in his boat at the moment. Snags over there. Reeds, this is the shallows, and that's the shallow bay, the old gravel washings. You know, years ago, that obviously there was a gravel works on the bank down there. So this is the shallows. It's red hot today, so I'm hoping that the fish are moving up here because of the weather. And I'm going to do my last night in here and off in the morning. And there's a plane going over, which is just typical, isn't it? Because obviously there's only a few flying at the moment. And one comes over as soon as I start a video, so I have to shout. There he goes, he's gone. It has actually been amazingly quiet for planes. Obviously nobody's really travelling anywhere. Apart from that one, which was extra loud. So that's my plan. I'm going to get me screw-in stage stands because I'm snag fishing. And, oh, there's me. Look, hello. Hello. Timmy, what's it? Does that look anything like an eagle? Looks like an emu, doesn't it? Anyway, yeah, I'm going to screw my old stands into the boards so they can't go anywhere. Bed chair under the stars just here. Madalena's going to sleep up there. She is absolutely knackered. I'm not even going to bother putting the dog bed out tonight. I can't remember the last time she slept in the thing. Every day I bring it, every night I put it out. Every night she ignores it. So I ain't going to bother. But yeah, so this is it. Final chance, final plot. Love to get one before I go home. Can't start my new season on a new lake with a blank, can I? An eel, that don't count. So, right, let's get doing the do. That swim I was in, the one I've moved into, was called the All Alone, and it gave you access to that far bank, which is very, very shallow, probably 2.5 foot deep, so easy to see the spots, but a long way, you know, it's, I don't know, 150 yards or whatever. So it was proper sort of snag fishing, all locked up. That fish couldn't take any line at all. Everything screwed down, sort of nailed down to the woodwork. And I'd been told by a couple of lads I'd spoken to that it had done that swim had done a bite So it already had 3 mornings, like since it started, and it had done a bite every morning at 5 a.m. So obviously I went to bed, thinking, 5 o'clock, I'll get one before I go. I wanted to get a fish before I went home. I didn't want to go home, with nothing under my belt. So that was it in my head, was like first thing in the morning, it's going to happen first thing in the morning. So when at 11:30 that night, I got a take. It sort of took me by surprise a little bit. I said take. I had 2 beeps and I looked and the rod tip was just slamming down like that as it was trying to make it, under the snags, but I knew it couldn't, not with braid. Absolutely locked up. So I leapt up, hit into this fish. There's quite a lot of weed and bits and pieces in the journey on the way back. And obviously my other 2 lines. So a couple of times it went under the other rods and I'm sort of lifting and passing it underneath and winding down and passing underneath. Started off, I think it was on the left-hand rod and ended up netting it on the right. I was a bit, bit wary really. If I snagged another one of the lines, I thought, if that gets caught in the weed and you end up with it 2 together and it'd just be a nightmare. But eventually got him in, started swirling in the margin, slid the net under him. I knew it wasn't a big fish, but it was my first fish, and that's the all-important fish, isn't it? From, when you get on, especially on a new water or even a new season, that first fish, it really changes everything. So whatever size, I was going to be well chuffed with.
Here we go. First one on the bank. Not the biggest, but very welcome. Always. Come on, mate. 2 seconds. Lovely little cod. There it is, about 18 pounds or something. Oh, there we go. Nice one. Off the mark at last. Thank you very much, Mr. Fish. Oh.
After him, I tried to get a bit of kip. You can't boat at night, so that rod was out of the equation now. But I was still thinking, 5 o'clock in the morning, I've got 2 rods out there. Tried to get some sleep, but that willow was driving me mad. It was literally just dripping all over me, dripping in my face, dripping. It's one of them where it's like if you've got a bit of weed on one rod at night in the wind and it's beeping, and you think I should get up and sort that, but you don't. You think, oh no, that'll be all right. It will stop. But the dripping didn't stop, and I didn't get an awful lot of sleep. But I did get another bite, and it was just before 5, to be honest, about 4, something like that. Just got light, and the next rod in line, that was away. And as soon as I hooked that one, I thought, oh, this is a bit better. He rolled over by the reeds out there. We started to see the big ripples coming out. He was trying his hardest to get in the reeds. But like I say, with braid, there's no stretching braid. So, once you've got him, once you've stopped him and rolled him over that once, you know that, unless you actually move the rod forward, he ain't going nowhere. And I've only got 1 extra line in the water now, so playing it was quite a lot easier. Still picked up quite a lot of weed. I was getting that floss, that I call it cherry blossom, but I think to be honest, it's actually willow. This white willow floss, it clods up on your line and then it hits the tip ring and you can't get it through, and you have to feed the rod back and rip all the stuff out. I was having a bit of a nightmare with that, but we won in the end, and it was like I said, it was mirror just before it went out, rolled over into the net, and a nice long one as well. So things was happening. It was looking good.
Morning. Got a slightly better one. Nice mirror. Just over £29. One chance of him. It's all a bit hectic, that long-range snag fishing lark. Especially when you've had absolutely no sleep whatsoever. Under a big willow tree, a big rain willow sapling light, in my mouth, in my eyes. No brolly up. Yeah, I reckon I've had about an hour's sleep. But, alright. There we go. Off. Come on, behave. Please. Side. Here we go. I don't really want you to see it. One last go. No. You get the general idea. That must be great. There you go. £29 a mirror. Lovely job. Lovely job. This is my new arrangement to combat the dripping willow. I was going to just have a bivvy up to sleep under. But it's even in that half, it's so hot, isn't it? It just traps the air. So I've used my old summer bed chair cover, which is just a thin sheet. I've done a Laney on it. Got a cord tied on one corner. Got something around there, I can't remember what it is. Oh, a pair of forceps. I've got two poles at the other end, rammed in the ground. Let me head up the foot end, and all the drippage is on here, as you can see. This is what was getting me last night. These great big fat drips landing in your mouth, in your eyes. It's impossible to sleep with that. But under there, that's going to be bang on. She don't seem to have any problems with dripping. And we're all set. I've just had to go and redo one already. Look at that floss. It looks a bit, let's see if we can darken that up a little bit. Is that any better? A bit closer. There, look. All that cherry blossom or whatever it is, it just gathers up on your lines and you just end up, you can see like 80-90 yards of line on the surface. And the problem is it winds around the line and it doesn't reel through the tip. So it can be an absolute nightmare. And as well as the floss, there's half a ton of other stuff out there as well. Just general floating weed and bits and stuff. It's always a mission at this time of year with this stuff. It just drags your braid up to the surface. You probably can't see that. But just where that braid's entering the water, just follow it along. There. It's just all clods of stuff. And like I said, I've just done them. I've just redone this left-hand rod and cleaned the middle rod. But in a couple of hours, you'll just be able to see those lines just all the way out. But there you go. These things are sent to try us. I've got nothing in there. It's just empty. All my gear stacked up in the bushes. I had a good old tidy up because it was a bit of a bomb site. And we've got this on the go. The old cob. Whole spatchcock chicken in there, sizzling away nicely. Probably do with a clean that machine, to be honest. There you go. To be honest, I think I could do with a clean. And this is the longest I've fished in the UK for a bloody long time. This will be my Saturday, Sunday night. This will be my 5th night. Jesus. Like time bandit. That's making up for the lockdown. My excuse. But we shall see what tonight and tomorrow morning brings over there. Found a lovely spot off the middle of those reeds. Where are we? On far or close? That's far. That's close. Yeah, right in the middle of that big reed bed over there. There's a lovely spot just out of swan depth. All silt, like yellow silt. And then there's a channel in the weed coming towards me for me to bury my line in. Looks absolutely spot on. So there we go. That's where we are at the moment in time. Looking good. Right, set it up, see you later.
By the time I got all that sorted, redone the rods, it was hot. I mean, it was ridiculously hot. They said, the forecast said 24 degrees. And throughout the day I kept checking, it said 24 degrees. There is no way it was only 24 degrees. It was absolutely cooking. Madeleine had just went into the darkest little bit of woodland behind and didn't come out for hours. She was just curled up like a cat in the very coolest bit. Me, like an idiot, decided to sunbathe. I thought I could do it a bit of a tan. So I sat out there in the sun for most of the day, and as a consequence I had a banging headache by the middle of the afternoon. And it was Moz had set up in the swim next to me as well. He'd got down into this. He weren't so much in the shallows, but there's a big run of snags that come out of the shallows, and the swim he was in also fished across to the snags. So we'd both got the same idea, sort of get up that end of the lake. And he was stood up the top chatting in. I don't know. It must have been. It was still hot, but it was afternoon, evening. So I don't know, 6:30, something like that. Not when you expect to bite at all. And my right hand rod, which was fished out to this huge reed bed, suddenly just roared. Just like that one, I could fish on a bit of a clutch because it wasn't like tight to any snags. They had about 3 rod lengths before they could hit the reeds, and because it was at an angle, I didn't really want to have it too locked up. Rip the rod off the rest. So I had it on a tight clutch. We're talking proper tight. Just pull a few clicks off, and it managed to pull quite a few clicks off. Like the tip was bent right round. And I hooked into this one, and that got straight in some weeds, so I had to go out in a boat. So I got out there, got above him, pulled him out of the weed, and as he's come out of the weed, it's quite clear the water. I can see this big old grey back chugging about down there, and I'm thinking, oh, this is a much better one. This is a proper one. Twisting and turning, he had this huge head, this massive, great big pale coloured, sort of light grey, yellowy head, plodding about under the boat, and I managed to get him up, free all the weed off of it, and he went in the net, and I could see he was a good one, real nice fish, really deep, like I say, broad, massive, great big head. Got him back to the bank, slipped him in the net. Moz got on the camera, and we hoiked him out. Funnily enough, I'd been told the day before, no, that day actually, earlier that day, I was talking to one of the other anglers, and he'd told me about a fish in there called Bighead. And when I got it out and laid it on the mat, I thought, this has got to be Bighead. I'd only just, that day heard of the existence of this fish. And I thought, it's got to be. It was all head. I was expecting it to be. By the size of the head, when I'd seen it go in the net, I thought, it's going to be a mid-40. But when I got it out, I thought, it's a big fish, but it's not that big.
Right, this is a bigger one. Just as my chicken was ready, the old spatchcock, I was just about to get it out the cob, and along came Mr. 36-pound short, fat, big head mirror. 2-tone, he's got it all going on, apart from scales. Ain't got any of them. He may firmly be in the sim over right. Oh, he's a heavy one. Oh, I like this. New pond, big fat mirror, light my fire. Hello, mate. All right, chubby chops, aren't you? Yes, you. Excellent. I'll show you the other side, but it's exactly the same. So, there we go. Kingsmead Island Lake. First big one. Oh, first 30. Actually, I will do the other side because he's actually nice on the other side. It's not quite as 2-tone. Oopsie daisy. Pretty sure she's a she, actually. Ah, there we go. Oh yeah, it's very 2-tone this side. Oh, perfectly timed just before tea. Might even have a cold cider as a celebration. Lovely job. Let's pop him back. There's loads like that.
So I decided, I had to stay really, didn't I? I mean, it was turning into quite a session. But I was now on the fish, whereas before I couldn't go home because I didn't want to blank. Now I couldn't go home because I didn't want to walk away from an opportunity. It's always the way, and there's always a reason why you can't go home. But obviously, having been locked down for 8 weeks, it's all quite flexible, and the missus was good as gold. She was like, just fill your boots. So I went to bed under my new shelter that night, expecting night bites. I'd had one the night before, and it was different that second. I could hear them out there. There was a lot more fish about. I could hear them booming out and smashing over the back near the snags. I was really, really quite confident that second night. Again, I think it was about a little bit later, maybe about midnight. I had my first take, and that was a smaller one. Can't remember, it's stocky. I think it was about, I didn't weigh him, so let's say about 20 pounds, something like that. I'm getting blasé now. Again, that rod was out of the equation. That was from the really shallowest spot. I'd say midnight sort of time. And I sat up for about an hour afterwards, and I heard about 3 or 4 fish go over, and I thought, I am definitely getting another bite before it gets light. And sure enough, about 2:30 in the morning, the next one's gone. I say, just pulled up, the rod's shaking like that, it's all bolted down. And I looked into that one, got that one in, and as he went in the net, I could see he was a nice one, long fish, beautiful fish. So I've set up all the night camera stuff and that, and oinked him up onto the bank as well.
We've got ourselves another one. Another 30. 32.5 pounds, this one. What's going on? It's all kicking off. Bit of a different shape to the last one, proper long one, this one. Look at that fella. What a corker, eh? I'm loving it here. Now I'm on them. Properly on them. I can hear them boshing out there as well. Nice. He's a beauty. Thank you.
Same thing in the morning. Got a bit of work to do. You've got 2 rods out the water. Gets light, about 4:30, something like that, 4:15, and then you can go out and redo your rigs. But unfortunately, that's also bite time, isn't it? So I tried to be as quiet as possible. I motored halfway out there and then paddled the last little bit. Done the 2 rigs, got them back, bolted them down in the rest. Within 5 minutes, I think, one of them was away. That fish was, I think it was about 21 pound. So they were out there. And I was a bit gutted that I'd obviously missed out between 2:30 in the morning and sort of 4:30, I suppose, by the time I got that next one. In that period, there was, so I could hear them out there. I knew they was out there. But then it just got red hot. As soon as the sun came up, if I thought the day before was hot, that day was absolutely baking. But I weren't making the mistake of sitting in the sun again. I spent the whole day, with Madalena, sat in the shade. I didn't fancy that headache from hell again. Just drinking tea and water and sort of keeping hydrated and just keeping out the sun. And I decided I was going to do another night, which would make it a 6-night session, which is just obscene. I don't do that sort of time anymore. But I thought while they're there, you've got to capitalise on it. You've got to make the most of it. So yeah, I got everything all set up and got the rigs out there and got everything nailed down and thought, I'm going to do another night. I knew that was going to be my last night. You're only allowed to fish 3 nights in one swim, and I was only staying now because I was in this swim and the fish were out there on the shallows. So I thought, this will do me. This definitely 100% will be my last night. I was just hoping for a few more. As it turns out, it was a completely different night. Some cloud came in, the wind got up a little bit, and there was no noise from out there. Before, like I said, in the dark, you could hear them out there. And by about midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. I went to sleep and I thought, it's not going to happen. You just could tell, you know, things, it just seemed different. And I was expecting to have had a bite by then if they were there. I sort of knew I'd overcooked it a little bit. But I did manage, I was lucky, I did manage one more fish, just on light, I think it was, but not from where I've been catching. I'd put one rod further, sort of further round to the reeds and a little bit back off the bank, a little bit deeper water.
Morning all. Back here, got another one. Oh, hello Madeleine. Turned up and she's right at the wrong time. Yeah, really quiet night last night. Had one just before first light this morning. There she goes. A dark one, isn't it? Beauty. Fish number 9. 9! Incredible. Yeah, he's a pretty fish. I'm gonna walk right in front of him. There we go. Little perler. Right. Get you back, fella.
Well, I think that's going to be about it. Had that lovely fish, 26 that was, that fish this morning, by the way. Nice dark one this morning. The weather's completely changed, as you can see. Overcast, a lot cooler. Even a couple of spots of rain just now. And since I was fishing, or am fishing in about 2.5 foot of water, they've obviously moved off of that, as you'd expect. So, oh, and Elena, how's your breakfast? She loves standing in the way of the camera, doesn't she? Right, Mads, ready? Madalena, hey, you going to say goodbye to everybody? Here, you're not, are you? God, what they say about working with animals and children. There we go. Say bye-bye to the nice people, because we're going home in a minute. No chance. So that's a lot for a week, and it was a week as well. Like I say, longest session I can ever remember doing for since the old Raisbury 1 days, I think. But I'm looking forward to a bath and seeing my family, to be honest. I'm going to wrap this up, chuck it in the boat and do one.
You know, I mean, what a start. What a start. New water, first time on, don't know anything. 3 days of blanking and eventually get on the fish and have 9 carp. I was just like, cock a hoop. It was just an amazing session. I showed a couple of the regulars and one of the bailiffs some of the photos. Turned out that fish was big head. I had another of the character fish. Can't remember its name. That was the 32 with the purple marks down under its gills and that. Lovely fish. I really liked it. Proper little character. And the small common that small common I had that morning. I believe, just by description, he's called Spike because of his like little dorsal spike that comes up, and I think he's quite an old one, not a big one, but quite an old one. But yeah, all in all, I mean, it was great. I absolutely love it there. I can't wait to go back. I can't wait, and I probably won't be waiting too long. So yeah, there you go. The first blog of the first new season. Hope you enjoyed it. Books, before I go. I've said, and I've put it on my last blog, and I've put it on Facebook and whatever, but A Flick of the Tail has completely sold out. I've got a copy there, one copy, my copy. That's it. They've all gone. Fine lines, there are still fine lines available. They must be getting short, but I don't know how many are left. I'm waiting for an email back from the publishers because they've got some in storage, but they must be getting low now, but I don't know. But they are available. They're still on the website, links below. There'll probably be a tab there still for Flick of the Tail, but it's you can't use it, it's dead. It probably says sold out underneath. And that's about it, I think, for now. So I'm going to go downstairs, have a little tidy up, clear my gear up, turn it all around, pack my bag, and see how soon I can get back down to the lake. Gagging for it. Right, till next time. See you later.